So we're going to look at a banded row today to fix kind of weak scap control. Often we see people that are trap dominant, typically front delt pain sort of thing happening when we're dealing with tight pecs, tight traps and people walking around like so. Show us some bad posture, Paul. Let's see.
You want me to gradually develop?
Just develop, yeah. If you turn to the side so people can see what the shoulders do.
Worse.
It is getting worse. Okay, so a lot of the time we do see people, maybe not quite as exaggerated as this, coming in, the shoulders are pointing forward. If we have a bar through the shoulders, ideally how I want to see the bar is coming out to the side, not coming off on an angle. Another good way of spotting if you've got a bit of internal rotation through the shoulders is looking to the top of our hands and seeing how much we can see. In Paul, you can see the back of his hands. However, if we've got a nice neutral posture, we're only really going to see kind of our forefinger and our thumb. So, onto the banded row, let's have a look, shall we? Paul, please feel free to turn and face this way for me. Prep, get ready, warm up. Then, so if you'd like to take the band, first off I'm just going to get you to row. You row however you want. We're going to do double-handed, please.
Double-handed rows.
That's the one. Show us just any row, Paul.
Any row?
Any row, just row it.
Rowing?
We're rowing. And that's not what we want when we're doing a banded row. Would you believe, if you look, even though this is exaggerated, we've got a lot of movement in the trap. Yeah, we're closing off the pec. The front delt's coming forward. The arm's almost corkscrewing out as he rows, rather than being stable and neutral and fixed. This often comes into play in other exercises too, when we see people pressing, people pulling down, people doing pull-ups. A lot of issues stem from this kind of pattern, especially when we're looking at imbalances. So, now that you've tired your traps out, we're going to look at how to do this properly. First things first in this exercise, what we want to do is get the shoulders upright first, nothing else. So, we're going to bring our shoulder back into position. We're going to put it almost in the socket, yeah? That's nice and neutral. Next step, we're going to try and get a straighter neck. So right now you can see it's on a bit of an angle, so we took our chin slightly into our neck, as if we're kind of going to pop a bit of a double chin. Next cue point that I like to use is proud chest. So we're opening the chest, we're pushing the chest out and up, and it's nice and stable. From here you might want to consider squeezing the glutes slightly, having the hips nice and happy too, but for the purpose of this video we won't worry too much about that. Next stop, with the row, we're going to focus on keeping the shoulder moving as an almost pendulum motion rather than out and in. We're not going to work opening the scap too much. So, as we're here, Paul's ready to row. All I'm going to do is get him to squeeze gently. He's not going to worry about his arms, almost forget that he has arms, and he's just going to squeeze my hand there. Once he's got the squeeze, he's going to slowly go forward. There we go. To about there, keeping the shoulder in its neutral position, and we're going to come back and squeeze my hand again. And then we're going to rep back, keeping control. Whole time being aware of what our traps are doing. In a trap dominant person, typically what we'll find is as they're rowing, one side or both sides will try and come up. More often than not, it's not quite that obvious. So again, if you struggle with that, it's worth kind of thinking gravities, pulling the lats, pulling the elbows down, and just allowing a nice kind of stretch here. Pulls obviously off because he's mobile and does his homework, and we're going to rep. Typically I rep between 15 to 25 person dependent. Some people will find as they fatigue because they're not used to isolating the muscle, they'll get to rep 12, 15, whatever, and things start to go wrong. If you're able to keep an eye on yourself while you're doing this, you'll be able to see as soon as things start moving. You can either rest and reset, or you can just kind of loosen off, go again. That's basically it. So we're now going to show from the front without the band. I'm just going to demonstrate the kind of posture of this. So Paul, please turn around for me, sir. Stand in the center of the frame. So remember, this is negative. We don't want this. We don't want a curved neck. We don't want to round our shoulders. First things first, pop the shoulders back. Show off your boobies. Get that nice proud chested motion. We're going to try and neutralize the neck. We don't want it craned forward, back, anything. Here we are. Let's have a look at those hands. Obviously Paul's looking a bit rigid right now, but we're only seeing thumb and finger. If we were to row now, we'd be forward, our arms would be forward, and as we'd row, this would kind of be our finished position, but those are a bit tighter than I'd want right now. Happy with that, Paul? Do you feel like you can row anymore?
Oh,
Of course you do.
lads.
Sorted. Happy?